Hey everyone, I'm Brad and this is Watch Rate Heart. And it's the start of a new week where I not only review films, I also share the thoughts of the Letterboxd community. And this week, in celebration of the recent Wrestlemania that happened this week, I thought it would be a fun time to review some films centered around professional wrestling. I have 4 films to review, with some with various different styles of storytelling and genres. But before I get to the reviews, I've got one question to ask you. Are you ready?
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. We never talked about it. And I don't know if my brothers and I believed it back then. But bad things kept happening.
The first film I'm reviewing this week is the biopic of the Von Erich family, The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron, directed by Sean Durkin. It has a Letterboxd score of 4.1 out of 5, an IMDb of 7.6 out of 10, a Rotten Tomatoes of 89% fresh, and a Metacritic of 73, and has no accolades to speak of as of this time. Alright, so The Iron Claw. I have heard so many great things about this movie, and the only reason why I never got around to it until now was because, well, honestly, I already knew the story of the Von Erichs. I've always had a bit of an interest in professional wrestling, and when you get an interest in professional wrestling, you hear about the Von Erichs and the tragedy of what happened with that family. And because of that, I just really wasn't all that interested in watching the movie, but I'm glad I did because it's a really good movie, and it's buoyed by great performances. I don't think there is a bad performance in the entire cast of the film. We can go with the 4 brothers, the parents, Lily James as Kevin's wife. Every performance in this film is really good. But I really want to highlight 2 performances. One is Zac Efron, who looks fantastic as Kevin Von Erich and does a very good job playing the character. But my favorite performance of the film is Holt McElhaney, and he is fantastic as Fritz. He is this domineering presence throughout this entire film that is always suffocating. It always feels tense when he is on screen, and he nails the feel of this character incredibly well. You feel his presence not only when he is on screen, but off when the boys are doing what they're doing and they're trying to impress their father and do what's best for their father. Like, his presence is suffocating in this film. And to me, he is the best performance of this film. Maura Tierney is also very good in the film, but I really have to say that Holt McElhaney is fantastic in this. And the film is less about the professional wrestling scene and more about the brothers and their relationship. And it's actually really emotionally potent. There are a lot of great scenes in the beginning of them bonding. There's this really good chemistry with all of them. The actors did a fantastic job. But then as everything starts going down, and if you don't know what happens with the Von Erichs, I won't spoil it, but man, it hits hard. And the ending is just devastating. Even though I knew what was about to happen, and that final scene in the movie with Zac Efron and his kids was just, it was gutting. Oh man, it was so good. Oh man. I do have a couple of issues, one minor and one that I kind of had more of a wish for the film. Is Kevin meant to be slow or just agreeable or more introverted? Because sometimes there's scenes in this film where I'm really wondering if this guy is just not all right in the head, like mentally slow. But then there are other parts in the film where it just seems like he's a little too agreeable. He's just a little too willing to please. Is that what it is? I was a little confused by that in some parts of the film. I kind of got at the end, but it just felt kind of weird that there were certain parts of the scene. I think the one scene I want to talk about is the scene where Lily James' character, his wife, is asking him to come home. And he is saying, I don't want you two to get it. It's hard to really gauge whether that's superstition or that's just him being slow or him just being unreasonably scared. I don't know what the film was actually going for in that scene. I think they could have done that a little bit better. But the one thing that I wish they talked about more, and this is coming from somebody who has read about and watched a lot about pro wrestling, I wish they showed more about the business. Because to me, there's parts of the film where they do show the business side, the guys deciding on how they're going to do the match and everything, what Fritz does in the business side to get people to watch the show. That stuff's shown. But there is a really seedy, dark side to pro wrestling that it kind of feels like the film just heaps on to the father when really it's the business itself that is like that. There is a TV series called Dark Side of the Ring that if you have not seen, it's on Viceland. I don't know anybody who watches Vice TV, to be absolutely honest, so that might be why you might not have heard of it, but they do a fantastic job of showing these stories of professional wrestling and like the really messed up stuff that goes on behind the scenes. There was a great episode of this, I think on the second season of Dark Side of the Ring. There's a fantastic episode about Chris Benoit, Owen Hart, that I would highly recommend as well. If you find yourself suddenly fascinated with pro wrestling when you weren't, check that series out, check those episodes out. It's really worth it. I just wish there was more alongside the business that would explain why these guys would do some of these things instead of just heaping that on the father. But it does make how domineering the father is even more effective, so I guess that's a push and pull on that one. And in every episode of Watch Rate Heart, I not only give you my opinions of the films I'm watching, I'm also giving you the opinions of the Letterboxd community. And this first one is from Justin DeClos. Justin gives it 3 stars out of 5. And Justin says, "This is alright, but it pales in comparison to the 44-minute doc that lays out the tragic story directed by Jason Eisner for Dark Side of the Ring." It was season 1, episode 4. Yes, there is more to the story than what the film is showing, but it would be so much more depressing. I think I can kind of understand why the film didn't go there. At least that version didn't cut out an entire brother. Oh yes, that's right. It was Chris, I think, right? It seems that they did it in the Iron Claw because they wanted to make it easier dramatically to swallow, but damn, his story is just as valid as all the others, and it just feels wrong not to have it. Yeah, it's a little weird that they completely deleted one brother. And if there was just that one brother, it would kind of make that final scene a lot less effective. Can kind of understand why the director and writer did that, but I kind of do agree with Justin on that one. It's a little messed up that they kind of took that brother out. This next review is from Joseph. Joseph gives it 5 stars out of 5 with a heart. And Joseph says, "Shame on you, the Academy, for not giving Zac Efron an Oscar nomination." Yes, oh my god. This is like catnip to the Oscars. He transforms his entire body. He plays a different character than he usually plays. It's a biopic. This should have gotten Oscar nominations, but I'll tell you why it probably didn't. It's about professional wrestling. And unless you're The Rock, they don't care. I don't understand why, but oh well. This next review is from Off the Cuff Reviews. Off the Cuff gives it 4 stars out of 5 with a heart. And Off the Cuff says, "This lost a little bit of points for literally leaving out one of the main brothers of the direct family that had a huge impact on the story. And any excuse to leave him out is stupid, but this was good." Like I said in the first review from Justin, I kind of understand why they cut it out. In a way, it does feel a little wrong that they literally took out one brother of the film and pretended he did not exist. And finally, this last review is from Alfonso. Alfonso gives it 4 stars out of 5 with a heart. And Alfonso says, "Kind of super masculine and good old boy American melodrama we don't get so often anymore." Yeah, we really don't. We used to get a lot of them like in the 80s and 90s. They do not make them anymore. I could watch the first half with all the brothers eating burgers, doing leg stands, and playing football forever. Obviously, the second half is a downer, especially since the tragedies don't get enough time to breathe. In that part, Efron really carries it, though, I think. I think the way that they space everything out is well done. But like that first half with the brothers being very close, it does really lay off how devastating the end is because of how close-knit they were and how much they loved each other and everything. So I see where he's getting at, and to me, the tragedies get enough to breathe. I think if they would have lingered more, it would have been a little too much, but to each his own. I like Dickinson the best since he got the closest to capturing the in-ring charisma of a wrestler, which is nearly impossible, and just look at how awful that Ric Flair impression was. Oh my god, yeah. The person who played Ric Flair was awful. You know who also was awful? The guy who played Harley Race. Like, both of them were really bad. Like, they did not do a good job in either casting or the performances. They were just distractingly bad. I can see Alfonso's point. I just think if they would have spaced out the film to a 3-hour film, I think it would have been a lot harder to swallow the sadness of the second half. But that's my opinion. Let me know what yours is in the comments. So, in review, The Iron Claw has some great performances, but I really want to highlight Zac Efron and Holt McElhaney as the best performances in the film, especially McElhaney as Fritz, the father of the entire family. It's an emotionally powerful movie about brotherhood, and the ending hits incredibly hard. But I did have some problems with the characterization of Kevin at a certain point, and I kind of wish there was more about the pro wrestling business at the time to maybe get a deeper context as to why the brothers were doing what they were doing and why the father was the way he was. Overall, I'm going to give The Iron Claw 4 stars out of 5 with a heart. It is a very good film, and I honestly think it's great because of the performances by everyone in the film. Not only just Zac Efron or Holt McElhaney, but Maura Tierney, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, Lily James. The entire cast was really good in this film. Again, I had a couple problems with the film, but overall, I do think The Iron Claw is definitely worth a watch, even if you are not a pro wrestling fan. In fact, if you are not a pro wrestling fan, definitely watch it. You're in for a pretty devastating movie. So overall, 4 stars out of 5 with a heart for The Iron Claw. If you liked any of the reviewers I've highlighted in this episode, you can check out the description for a link to their Letterboxd profile. Be sure to give them a follow and let them know that Brad from Watch Rate Heart sent you. You can follow me on Letterboxd and X at Watch Rate Heart. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and share with your friends. I'm Brad from Watch Rate Heart. Thank you for watching, and remember, we all watch and rate movies, but you give them the heart that makes them live forever.